Welcome into Your Money Reality Check with Kurt and Ted. Hope you're doing well. Wanted to welcome you guys to the show. And today we've got on Mr. Ted Mclyman, who has just come out with a new book called Discovering Your Money Temperament. Welcome, Ted.
Hey, it's a pleasure to be here, Kurt. Always a pleasure.
So talk about very timely. This book couldn't have been more timely than anything out there. We've seen a tremendous amount of volatility and uncertainty the last couple of weeks. And this book touches on a lot of the behavioral sides of money management. Isn't that right?
Oh, it sure does. I mean, Kurt, you and I have known each other quite a while. I come out of the industry like you did. I was licensed at one time. I was even on the evil side in management. But I dropped my licenses a couple of years ago and started writing about behavior because as an advisor, I found out that most of the problems people are having with money was bad behavior. And I got into it after the last meltdown in 2008, wrote a book back then, wrote another book, and funny thing happened with the new book. It wasn't doing much because the market was going in one direction, straight up in the air. And when the markets are great, everybody's a genius. Well, a funny thing happened the other day. The market fell apart because of what we call a black swan event, something nobody anticipated, but it had a significant impact. And now some funny behavior is happening. Everybody that used to be a genius is now a victim, and everybody that was giving advice is now an idiot. It's called human behavior. We all do it. We've seen herding instinct. We've had group buying. We've had crazy, crazy behavior. So in the book, Discover Your Money Temperament, a common sense guide to financial security, it's something you and I have been talking about for years. You use it in your practice, and it's simple. It simply means we need to consider the behavior of the individual, the behavior of the client couple, because it's probably different on each end, and start managing behavior and not products.
That's exactly right. And I've read the book myself and can't recommend it highly enough to both clients and advisors in the industry. I think it gives some great insight on how to approach the behavioral side of money management. And you hit the nail right on the head. Over the last few weeks, I think we've seen every single human behavior across the spectrum, some really good, some not so good. But before I go on any further, there is a special with Amazon going on right now, correct?
Right. If you go to my webpage, which is tedmclyman.com, today only, if you log in, join our Facebook group, which is called Discover Your Money Temperament. I'm running a promotion that you can download a free copy of the electronic version of the book through Amazon or the Kindle version. It's only for today. Highly recommend you do that. And let me do a little footnote here. There are a lot of people on here that said, I don't need this stuff. I don't need another book on money. Well, I say that's wrong. Number one, this is new stuff and it's different. Number two, it is relevant today. Number three, I guarantee you know somebody in your immediate family or who is close to you who's absolutely nuts with money. They need it. And number four, it's a great professional reference.
That's exactly right. And as I said earlier, it's a great insight into the way the human mind works. And simply put, and you've said it for years, that the human brain is just flat out not wired well to handle money.
Oh, yeah. And another thing about this book, this is not a technical book. This is written for a person who will never read a book on finance. Probably took a course in economics a few years back and has forgotten everything about it. There's no graphs, there are no pictures and arrows, there's no math. It simply talks about how we as humans are not naturally wired to work well with money. I call it your feeling thinking brain. And our feeling thinking brain does a lot of things real well. Money, taxes, credit, reading the small print and software disclaimers. We don't do that very well. However, we're really good at emotionally reacting to things we don't understand and buying toilet paper en masse and 50-pound bags of rice that we can never possibly use.
Right. And in essence, exhibiting those behaviors gives us a false sense of control, I think, in the midst of a lot of chaos, and a feeling, just a better feeling about what we are doing in a time that's filled with a lot of uncertainty. And I think, your book hits on that behavioral side of it, which is extremely important because from a professional standpoint in my own practice, oftentimes our industry can be very focused on products and numbers, which are important. However, it's really the why behind people and what they're doing that's most important, in figuring out those behaviors and helping them to understand those.
Oh yeah, that's huge. And you have got me going on pointing in a direction with the financial industry that was always been one of my pet peeves for years. That as much as we try to paint it nicely, the industry is about making money, and it comes in a couple of different ways. It's through products and services, and there are a couple of different ways you can be charged for those products and services. And I'm not going to get into that here, but you got to realize that somebody's got to pay for something someplace. There's nothing free. And for you people that want to do it for free, I guarantee it may be one of the most expensive decisions you ever made in your life to go to try to do all this stuff on your own. It's just too much going on. It's too complicated. So to make a long story short, I'm a big proponent of working with a professional. But when you work with a professional, the professional needs to be aligned with you. And where this book is so important, it talks about natural money temperament. Your natural money temperament is a composite of your biology, you as a human. We are wired to stay alive and pass on our genes. Money's not a high priority. Number two is our behavior, belief sets, and environment. Where you grew up, what you believe about money is critically important about how you spend today. And the last part is our culture. Our culture has a tremendous influence on what we feel is important, how we spend, how we buy, how we set priorities. So when you think about it, anytime you look at money, your biology, your belief set, and your culture are conspiring against you to make stupid money decisions. Well, I saw this in my clients a few years ago. I write about this, and the new book addresses that issue by giving you a new way to fix the problem. I call it the behavioral money system. And it's a simple way for you to get your head around how you think and feel about money so you can take better focused decisions.
That's right. And you even made a comment before we started filming this episode that, simply having the book in the seat of your car is going to trigger that awareness so that you don't go into the store and buy things that you may not necessarily need.
Oh yeah, that's a really good point. We're giving out the electronic book right now. It's free because I want to get it into people's hands because this is new stuff. You're not going to get this from most advisors other than somebody like Kurt. And behavioral is so important. But the electronic book is kind of hidden on your phone someplace, and it's, a collection of zeros and ones hidden in the cloud, and you never really see it. It's not tangible. I believe you need a hard copy of the book that you can feel and touch. The book is designed that you can take notes. You should read this book with a pad of paper, a pen, and a highlighter. There are exercises in the book. They're going to help you get in there and figure out what you're doing with money. So at the end, you're going to have a composite of who you are. And the key point about this is we're not judging. This is not a book that's going to try to change your behavior. It's going to help you discover your behavior. And then your goal is to have a plan or a strategy that is aligned with your behavior, as opposed to the way most people try to do it. They try to change their behavior to align with some strategy or program or product that they probably don't understand. It's not appropriate, and it drives them nuts. It's very similar to exercise and diet. Exercise and diet don't work. It's not that the programs aren't good. It's that it's not aligned with you. We need to do the same thing with money.
That's exactly right. We talked about it earlier, helping clients figure out their why. Why do they want to save money? Why do they want to, retire early, or whatever that is? Helping them discover their why is incredibly important. And I think that this book does a great job of helping them, the clients, do that. But also from the advisor standpoint, it's very eye-opening for me to be able to have a better insight into understanding why people are thinking the way they do. And also it's a great reminder that, let's face it, we are emotional creatures at heart. that happen to make logical decisions. We're not logical creatures at heart, right?
Exactly. And it's usually the exception that we're rational. Matter of fact, to make it easy in the book, I call it your thinking brain, or feeling brain, thinking brain. Your feeling brain is everything that's unconscious. It's emotional, it's reactive, it's quick, it's automatic, it keeps you alive, it processes billions of bits of information a second, and that's your default. And it runs on dopamine, the feel good drug of choice that makes you anticipate and want things, and it helps you put that extra $20,000 into the price of an automobile that you didn't plan on spending, and a house that's 2,000 square feet bigger than you need. Your thinking brain, on the other hand, is the exception. It's deliberate. It takes time. It's rational. But your thinking brain is not where you're comfortable most of the time, because it takes a lot of energy to stay there. And it actually kind of hurts emotionally. So we get in and out of that process very quickly. But you've got to realize that the default, where you spend 95 to 90% of your time, 99% of your time, is what you're on when you're walking through the mall. Let me give you a quick story. Let's say some friend picks you up. You're gonna say, "Hey, I got to run by the mall and just pick up a suit that I had tailored, and I'm just going to run for a couple of minutes. You want to wait here with me, or do you want to walk in?" Well, most people say, "I'm going to walk in with you." Well, here you are. As soon as you walk in that building, you know non-consciously that that is a place you spend money. It's expected, and as try as you hard as you try, you're going to be influenced by the smell and the feel and the look and the sounds of that place. And they're all designed to help you be in a spending mood. So you walk into, let's say, Macy's, and you're going back to the suit department with your friend to pick up the suit, and you're going to go buy all kinds of opportunities to spend some money. And try as hard as you may, in most cases, you're going to buy some, because you're on money with your brain.
That's exactly right. And it's all about awareness. And, if you understand your behavior patterns, if you understand why your brain is thinking that way, then it makes you more aware, which will ultimately allow you to save more money, because you're not going to be buying those things that you may not necessarily need. And that's what I think is really good about the book, is that it's not a technical book. There's not a bunch of numbers and graphs and charts. It's more about helping you understand why you think the way you do. And again, becoming more aware so that you can actually execute it when you're out in public, in places that, as you said, are designed to get you to spend money.
Exactly. The system I have, I call it the money behavior system, and it's got five very simple steps. Number one is, what's important about money to you. It's your values. What values are important to you? And we don't have time to get into it here, but it's what you think you really want to have happen, that is critical to you emotionally, that costs money. And for most people, if I tell you to look at your checkbook and look at your calendar, those are your high priorities, and those are really your values. And often you look at that and they're not necessarily aligned what you think you're after, because your behavior is different than what you say you want to do. Okay, you've got to deal with that. And a good coach, a good planner, is going to help you walk through that. Then you have to know what your temperament is, how you are naturally wired with regard to money. Are you naturally a spender or a saver? And it doesn't matter. We're not judging, but you need to get your head around that. Next piece is, how do you process information? You like to take information in through your eyes, your ears. You like to feel it. Are you a number person? How you process information is going to have a tremendous impact on how you relate to the products that are offered. Once you figure that out, now you're armed to make a decision. And the first thing is, I need a strategy. So you need a money strategy, the 30,000-foot look at where you want to go and how you're going to think you're going to get there. Then once that's all together, you have a plan, an action plan, which is execution, and that should be aligned with your temperament to help you achieve what's important, but also presented to you in a way that you're going to understand it. That's what we need to get people thinking, and that's what I teach you how to do in this book.
And that's why it's so helpful. And certainly it is, it's challenging anytime that you are taking stock and looking inside of yourself to, improve your awareness and your behavior and have a better understanding. It's certainly challenging. However, it's just like anything else. Practice makes perfect. And as you begin to learn more and more about it and start executing in real world, it makes it that much easier. It's also very helpful for you to be able to talk to other people in your circle, whether it be friends and family, about some of those same core principles. So our idea, for this weekly show, Your Money Reality Check, is to confront these harsh realities that exist in the financial planning world and in money management, and hopefully, help you better understand how to go about creating that awareness and managing your behavior.
Exactly. And fortunately for you and me, there's an infinite number of examples of crazy money behavior that we can talk about. But we want to do this at minimum on a weekly basis. We're going to talk about the book. We want to get it in your hands. My goal is to change the world of financial literacy, to move it from technical, product-oriented literature to behavior, money behavior. First and foremost, you baseline and understand your behavior. You manage your behavior, then you manage your money. And that's what we're going to be teaching how to do here. And that's what I talk about in the book.
And as we wind down today's episode, I want to remind everyone watching this video about the Amazon Kindle special that's going on until midnight tonight, Thursday, March 26th. You can actually get Ted's book for free. The link for that is going to be included in the show notes under this video. So please take some time to check that out.
Hey, Kurt, this has been fun. We're going to change the world, and it's going to be interesting.
Absolutely. I'm already looking forward to next week.
Okay. Thanks a lot.